everybody, this is John for MTG Nexus coming at you with another Modern Quick Hits video. As a friendly reminder, these are a deck tech and a one-match deck playthrough to kind of highlight some decks that are up and coming in the format or have been established part of the format and maybe don't get the recognition they deserve. This particular one is kind of bounced off of a couple of things here. So this is 80 card Yorion Avalanche Riders Soul Herder, or Soul Riders as it's been called on, I believe, Aspiring Spike's stream. This deck was chosen for a couple of reasons. Number one, we ran into a very similar build when we were playing Yogg combo on, I believe, last Friday. And also, the challenge results for this weekend have not dropped yet, so kind of fishing through some decks, through some leagues and such, and this is a deck that caught my eye. So what is this deck trying to do? Well, it's a toolbox deck akin to a Kiki core deck. In fact, it does have Kiki-Jiki the Mirror Breaker and Restoration Angel in it. But it is primarily built around the card a Soul Herder, which is a 1/1 for 3. Whenever a creature is exiled from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Soul Herder. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile another target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. And from that point, you are a bunch of ETB creatures outside of your pile of mana dorks here. You have Charming Prince, who has 3 different modes. You have Auriok Champion, which doesn't have an ETB effect, but is very powerful. Wall Blossoms, Cantrip, Coiling Oracles, Nice Fang Kotals, Cantrips or Ramp, Eldamari's Call, in addition to the 4 Court of Calling to find whatever particular card you're looking for. Deputy of Detention, a little bit of removal. Eternal Witness, able to buy back anything that's died or you need to rebuy. In fact, there is a, if I remember correctly, from some of the old Kiki core decks and such, there is a combination of 1 Court of Calling can actually combo. You can Eternal Witness, rebuy your Court of Calling, Restoration Angel, blink the Eternal Witness, rebuy your Court of Calling, and then go get a Kiki-Jiki combo with Restoration Angel. Beyond that, you have a Huntmaster of the Fells, 4 Avalanche Riders, because we don't want our opponents to have lands, and multiple ways to blink them with Ephemerate and other such. Venser, as a way to control spells, as well as permanents we really don't want to deal with. This can't even blink lands, which can get terribly annoying. Restoration Angel, a way to abuse all of your ETB effects. Acidic Slime, it slices, it dices, it destroys lands, artifacts, or enchantments. Kiki-Jiki the Mirror Breaker, definitely a way to end the game outside of just combat damage. And then 4 copies of Court of Calling to tie it all together. You are a 4-color snow mana base because of Ice Fang Kotal. You have 4 copies of Aether Vial, 8 mana dorks, and 1 Giver of Runes as quasi-protection against a lot of what the format has to offer to protect your key combo piece on a key turn. Sideboard, 4 Path to Exile because you need removal sometimes. 1 Burrington Forge Tender against anything red, so Burn and Prowess. 1 Eidolon of Rhetoric against anything trying to cast a bunch of spells, whether that be Storm, Ad Nauseam, etc. Even Mind Sensor can really mess with opponents. Meddling Mage can stop an important piece of your opponent's deck. Collector Oof can be annoying for any type of artifact-based strategy, which admittedly there aren't a ton of them in the format, but you know, for the low cost of 1 card, it's not terrible. Ixalan Jailer shuts off stuff in graveyards. Magus of the Moon, it's a Blood Moon effect. What more can I say? Is it Static Caster, small creature decks. Knight of the Autumn, much like Charming Prince, is a very powerful thing. Thragtusk, when you need to gain more life against annoying aggro decks. And then Yorion, because you're playing 80 cards, why wouldn't you play Yorion? But no. Yorion is a very powerful card. Blinks allows you to accrue an insane amount of advantage. This is much a grindy mid-range deck as it is a Soul Herder deck, as it is a land destruction deck, as it is a combo deck. This deck has a lot going on with it. Let's see what we can do with it. Here for the match, we're on the play, which is nice. We are a Yorion deck. Wall of Blossoms, Chord of Calling, access to Soul Herder. I think we keep this on the play. On the draw, I think this would be too slow. But I think on the play, we can actually go ahead and keep this hand. Reflecting Pull. No idea quite what that means yet. Okay. So we're drawing a bunch of lands. It's not necessarily a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing. The feeling we might be in a little bit of trouble, but I'm not really sure yet. Oh, we're up against Boil Control. Probably not the best of matchups for us. Not only Boil Control, but we're probably up against the Through the Breach version. We're going to get to accrue a ton of value, potentially, but then we could just die to an Emrakul. It's a lot of lands. Eternal Witness, not the best, not the worst. I think I'm supposed to blink Oracle here. Sure. I'm gonna have another forest here, right? Is there any way to counteract this in our main deck? Not for 2 mana, there isn't, unfortunately. 2, 3, 4. Culling. Still kind of hard to tell which version we're up against yet. They want to trade off, it's kind of whatever. Sure. Love to have had something like a Teferi Hero of Zalfair in the deck. It's the point in time where I would have loved to have had a Megas here. Hopefully they don't have Force of Negation, but now we're dead to an Emrakul, but I do think I want to thin the deck a little bit. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is there any way to kill them this turn? I don't think so. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 12. X would equal 4 and X would equal 5. just resolves. Again, we're already kind of dead to kind of an awkward draw here. Sure. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. All right. Want to keep access to Venser to bounce Emrakul. All the cryptic commands. Sure. Need to remember to put Urion in my hand here. Sure. So, definitely some misplays there. Milling Mage seems reasonable. Gonna bring a Knight of Autumn here. So the reason I'm bringing in Knight of Autumn is Our opponent sometimes can go to a Platinum Empyrean package, so having multiple outs to that is nice. Guess we could bring in the Forge Tender. Some of the rest of these are fine, like Mind Sensor. They don't really play fetch lands in that particular build, though. Rhetoric, I think it's more of an annoyance for us in this matchup. Thragtusk is a body, but not particularly good. Oriok Champion's like fine, but not great. Master's a bit clunky against what they're doing. I'm not saying it can't be good if it hits the battlefield, just saying it's unlikely to hit the battlefield. Deputy isn't great, but it could like blank an Emrakul for a turn. Against their deck, crazy to shave a Wall of Blossoms. I feel like this is a great Soul Herder game either. Yeah, hand's fine. No Mana Dork's unfortunate, but we can't really mulligan towards a Mana Dork in this deck. So probably fetching... what are we fetching? Blue Source, obviously. Maybe I should have left with a fetch land or whatever. Not that I expect them to have a spell snare, but you never know. Play around cards when you can play around cards, right? Okay, that's something to work towards. Sure. Main phase is a little weird, but whatever. Actually, I think there's only one planes. Cord for 3 at the moment. We'll leave on Eldamare's call. Go. Sure. One, two, three, four. So I could cord for 2 here. Before I do that, did we board out Charming Prince? We did not. Okay. Yay! Through the breach. So exciting. Oh, man. So, got to see a little bit of what the deck was doing, but, you know, I'm definitely stumbling and fumbling my way through that. So, yeah, maybe I wasn't supposed to save the... whatchamacallit there, just so I could have the Deputy Detention up in case they went for Emrakul. So, maybe I'm just playing too aggressively there. You know, what can you really do when you're kind of unfamiliar with some of these toolbox decks? It's been a long time since I've played a Kiki Chord or Chord deck with Kiki in it. So these decks take a lot of work to understand, a lot of work to know what the right tools are, etc. I'm sure that I was playing wrong things in wrong spots at some times, especially knowing that we were probably playing against the Breach version because the Omen of the Seas. Once again, watching Aspiring Spike stream kind of helps with that a little bit, but got to see a little bit of what this deck does, but in the end, you know, it's a lot of different things going on. Avalanche Rise being blinked a lot, infinite combo to kill, you know, just ton of value, but ton of value that can kind of struggle against counterspells a little bit. So, you know, definitely an interesting deck to learn from, and maybe something worth exploring in the future. But this has been John for MTG Nexus with a quick hits, and if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a comment down below as to whether you like seeing these kind of decks or not on a daily, at least week daily basis for both Modern and Pioneer.